The opinions, viewpoints, and beliefs presented on this program do not necessarily reflect those of the management, the affiliates and broadcast partners, or the sponsors. Listener discretion is advised. Scarefest!
The guests of Scarefest Radio are selected and scheduled independently of the Scarefest Horror and Paranormal Convention. Appearances on this program do not necessarily reflect the itinerary of the convention.
And hello and welcome everyone to Scarefest Radio. The original broadcast date is May 25th, 2018. I'm hoping everybody is having a glorious start to their Memorial Day weekend. Tonight we have Jeremy Kenley. He's with Wicked World Scaregrounds, a regular event, a regular attraction, I should say, at the Scarefest. And they've got something special they're doing this year, something brand new, something it's new to them, and it's new to us. So we're going to be talking about that in the second half of the show. We do have a celebrity announcement. We will give that at the 30-minute mark, give or take. You know how I am about commercials. After the halfway commercial, I am flying solo tonight. Brandon Griffith was going to be joining me tonight, but he had some type of emergency. Nicole probably said, you can't do radio 2 weeks in a row, and smacked him with a frying pan or some other wifely thing like that. But anyway, so that's we got that going on. Real quick thing I do want to announce before we get into the show good. We still have plenty of vendor space available at the Scarefest this year. We had a big run early, and we always sell out pretty close to showtime, but we were hoping this year, the way things were going, we were going to go ahead and sell out and have one less thing we got to dick with the last 30, 60 days of the of getting up to the event. But no. So anyway, if you were in doubt, and the reason I know that there's plenty of people wanting to come is because they made me an administrator. Now I see all these freaking Facebook messages that the Scarefest get, and every other one of them is, do you still have booth space available? The answer is yes, we still have booth space available. So if you're thinking about getting a booth, get it in there, so we got that taken care of before the last minute. Jeremy, welcome to the show.
Hey, Wes, what's up, brother?
Now, I want to say that Jeremy stepped in at the last minute because his partner in crime at Wicked World, Dean, he kind of wussed out on us at just like the last possible minute. Of course, we scheduled him at the last possible minute.
His needed to be organized. It was terrible.
But it's when your last minute guest cancels 15 minutes. But here's the funny part. So he said, Jeremy will do it, and so I gave him a few minutes. I said, okay, so you filled him in on this. Yes, he's all ready to go. I texted you, and he said he was doing the radio show. Your name apparently didn't come up, but anyway. So I really do appreciate you coming on, and as a representative of Wicked World Scaregrounds for tonight's episode. Now, everybody, if you don't know, Wicked World, it's beyond a haunted house, but basically, it's during the haunted house season, Halloween. Mm-hmm. But this is. Now, where did this start? Did this start as a haunted house? But, I mean, this thing has grown into quite the behemoth, if you will.
Oh, it's grown, and it's got crazy along the way. It starts, it actually starts way back in 2005, before I actually met Dean. When I was a kid, I grew up, I loved Halloween and things like that. Haunted houses actually scared the ever-loving shit out of me. But for some reason, I was drawn to them. I thought they were really cool. But Dean grew up kind of doing the same thing. You know, him and his buddies get together and do haunted houses in his parents' basement, things like that. And me and my friends would do haunted houses at my mom's school fall carnival and things like that. And he started the Nightmare Haunted House in his backyard in 2005. And, it's just something he put on for fun in his backyard, and he said 1,000 people showed up in October. And he thought, oh, holy shit, maybe we are onto something. And so he made the leap in 2006. He rented a big space. That's when we were back on Manchester Street, downtown Lexington. He made the leap and went pro, basically, and put it out there. And my girlfriend and I at the time, we'd come across somewhere, I can't remember where we were, maybe a Spencer's or something in the mall, and they said, hey, there's this haunted house opening up, and they're doing like a meet and greet for actors. And we thought, hey, that might be kind of fun. Let's go check that out. And so, we're going down Manchester Street, and I'm like, I don't know where the hell this place is at. And we're looking around, and it's literally just train tracks and old abandoned buildings. And I'm thinking, yeah, we're probably going to die, but at least we'll have fun dying. So we go back in, and we find this place in the back of a warehouse, and I don't know what to expect as I walk in. And I'm still used to, the old black plastic walls and Walmart masks and stuff like that. And we go back there, and I walk in, and I'm going, holy shit, there's a house in here. Like, he built a physical house in this giant 20,000 square foot warehouse bay. And I'm like, oh, this is a little bit above my pay grade. I wasn't expecting this. So we walk in and we walk through it, and I'm just like, holy shit, this is amazing. This is way over the top of what I've ever been through. And so we came out and met Dean and his wife Lynn and their other partners, Rick and Philip at the time. And we signed up for a couple days to come out and work because, Halloween, that was my thing. That's what I loved. And went out and worked and had a blast. And our first professional season, we had about 5,000 people come out and had an absolute blast. And I'll never forget at the end of the year, our little banquet they had for everybody. They took us out to eat, and we watched some of the best scares that they had because they had video cameras set up around the haunt. So he had to troll through hours and hours of footage, and he put this compilation together, which was hilarious, by the way. If you've never watched people go through a haunted house, people lose their ever-loving minds in there. But we had a blast, and the last thing I said to him at that meeting was, hey, I appreciate you letting us come out. If you ever need any help in the future, just let me know. And that was it. So next thing, he called me up about a week later, I think, and was like, hey, you want to come over? We're going to start planning for next year. And I'm like, of course I want to come over. Is there going to be pizza? So we go over there, and we start planning for the next season. And we start working, a day or two a week here and there, and then it spirals from there. And I ended up buying in as a co-owner. I think it was after our 2008 season was when I bought in, and it's just been crazy ever since. We moved locations after the 2009 season. We bought and took over the old Terror on Tate's Creek location, which is where we're at now, and so which was brand new to us because we'd only ever operated one haunted house before. And we go out there, and all of a sudden we have a haunted house and John's old outdoor trail, which is a completely other new beast that I'm not even a fan of, but people love for some reason. Trails kill me. There's so much more maintenance than an indoor haunted house. It's ridiculous. But we took that over, and then we added our third one back around, I think it was 2014 or 15. We added Quarantine in the back, and it's been those three ever since, and we've been rocking and rolling, man.
Well, first of all, I want to say that's exactly how you get a job at Scarefest. You just show up, and if they notice you standing there, they'll give you a job. But see now, this is all new to me. I knew about the Manchester Road location.
Yep.
But I had no idea you all had taken over the Tate's Creek location. I had even heard of Quarantine, and y'all need to pass out business cards or some shit because I didn't even know about that. But we'll talk about what each of them have to offer, and I understand this year there's even a new one on top of that.
Well, we got something new for people.
That you're involved with. I don't know that it doesn't make it clear whether it's from the creators of Wicked World. So I'm going to assume that you all are knee deep, if you will.
That's a pretty good expression for it. Yeah.
Well, believe me, I understand working with Scarefest. I understand how one can get knee deep, neck deep, underwater. I understand I understand the entire process. Now let's start with Now just go into your website, and if anybody wants to play the home version, it's wickedworldscaregrounds.com. That is almost what I call an unfortunate web address. It's almost too much.
Right.
People get tired of typing.
That is true.
But it's not. But because it is phonetically correct, I'm going to let you have that. wickedworldscaregrounds.com, everybody. And now, the Nightmare Haunted House, that's the one on Manchester, correct?
Well, the Nightmare is what we consider our main indoor haunt.
Okay.
We moved that one to the Tates Creek location in 2010.
Okay.
Now we've redone it. We actually rethemed it last year. It was Mercy Hospital for I think about 6 years, 5 or 6 years, and so we finally rethemed the whole thing top to bottom, and we went back to an old storyline that we'd had back on Manchester Street that people liked, called Sarah's Nightmares. And what it is, it's kind of a multi-theme haunted house. There's a little bit more different stuff in there. The story is based on this little girl who had nightmares, and her nightmares came to life and took over this town she lived in. So when we rethemed it, you actually start off, when the movie screen in our theater rolls up, you're actually looking at her house. The whole facade of her house is built right there in the movie theater, and you actually go in the front door of her house. And after a couple rooms, you go into her bedroom, then you go through into her closet, and then you come out in her nightmare world. So you're literally looking at the fronts of businesses and shops and things like that are in this town, and you start making your way through those.
So 5817 Tates Creek Road. Is that the correct address?
Yep.
That's what's on the website.
That's it.
I'm trying to get a little extra plug in here for you. Wicked World at 5817 Tates Creek Road, wickedworldscaregrounds.com. So, okay, Nightmare Haunted House. Now, how does that now Terror on Tates Creek Road?
Yes.
What does that one entail?
Terror on Tates Creek. Well, we kept the name from when John had it out there for years, just because people were familiar with it. Terror on Tates Creek, we use that to refer to our outdoor trail, which, like I said, is a whole new beast for us, because we were used to indoor haunted houses where you can get away with a lot on an indoor haunt that you can't get away with on an outdoor trail. But the outdoor trail, it's a 1920s, 1930s carnival theme. Which hopefully in the next season or two, we're going to be completely redoing that one as well. But that one's a favorite of people who love clowns and weird stuff like that. And a lot of people come up and they ask which one has clowns in it, because we don't want to do that one. Which, of course, usually the rest of the group talks them into it anyway. But, everyone still enjoys it.
Well, I think that's the whole point of Halloween. If all you want to, you don't go to Halloween for unicorns and butterflies. If
Exactly.
Clowns are what scare you, that's exactly where your ass should be. That's
Bingo.
That's the whole point of Halloween. See, that's my problem with Halloween, and I don't mean this as a bravado thing. Nothing really scares me in the classical Halloween scene. I'm not saying I'm not a fear of stuff.
Right,
I mean,
right.
I guess if you put like IRS agents or something like that, and had them
that's terrifying.
knock on doors. Yeah, that would just scare the piss out of me. But the classical Halloween stuff, the ghost goblins, axe murderers, that type of stuff. I'm not saying it doesn't, the little startle factor, but I don't have nightmares. In other words, they're
Right.
clowns.
Right.
Some of my best friends are clowns. I mean, what can I tell you? So I can't get too creeped out.
You're used to it by now.
Yeah. Now, I'll tell you what, we're at the quarter-hour mark. We're going to go ahead and take our first commercial break. Everybody, you're listening to Scarefest Radio. Do you feel lost in life? Do you seem to be stuck in emotions that are not yours? Is your home not the sanctuary it should be? Contact Spirit Mechanics, where they take a team approach to your metaphysical and spiritual problems. Spirit Mechanics specializes in aura cleansing, stone attunement, attachment removal, and house cleansings. Spirit Mechanics tailors their approach to your individual spiritual path and needs. Find them every month at Lexington, Kentucky's Mystical Fair, mysticalfairlex.com, or on Facebook by searching Spirit Mechanics, that's MECHANIX. Spirit Mechanics, for your spiritual health and well-being. And welcome back to Scarefest Radio, our second segment, talking to Jeremy Kenley of Wicked World Scaregrounds. Now, incidentally, if you're in the chat room tonight, I'm not ignoring you. My freaking chat room's not working. The computer next to me, it's fine. But that's somebody else's on that computer. You know. So if anybody asks anything profound, you just kind of point at it, and I'll pick that up. Now, quarantine. The one that I mentioned that I had no freaking idea there was anything like this. Tell me what quarantine is now. And also, of course, tell everybody where they'll find it.
Okay. Well, the funny thing about quarantine is the idea of it started back in 2007 or 2008. A lot of times when we would be down on the old location on Manchester Street, we'd be working. We'd work till probably 9, 10 o'clock at night, and we'd get done, and we'd hang around and just, we'd chit-chat and bullshit and brainstorm and throw out ideas of, man, it'd be cool. And so we got thinking on this idea a long time ago of doing a military zombie-themed haunt. And we moved out to this new location where we're at on Tates Creek Road. And, we've got the main indoor buildings for the Nightmare. We've got the trail for the Darkwood Carnival and everything like that. And there was an old greenhouse in the back. And we were like, man, I wonder if we could somehow turn that into a haunted house. I wonder if we could chop that thing off and raise it up 8 feet, put walls in it, put a roof on it and make this thing work. And so in 2013-14, we finally got crazy enough to give that a shot. And so we started building it and everything. We were really, really excited. We only got about halfway through building it by the time the season hit, so we had to roll without it. And so after that next one, we were able to get back on it, get to building, and we got it together, and we started working on things and this and that, and the roof ended up collapsing on the whole thing. I think we'd had a bunch of snow or something like that, and the whole shebang just came down. And luckily, our insurance guy was great. And he came out and went, yep, this is total loss. Here's your money. And we said, well, maybe this is a blessing in disguise. So we can finally get it finished being built, and we can deck it out and get it ready to roll. And so we took it for a spin that first year, and people loved it. And we've been tweaking it ever since, just adding more props and more stuff and changing some things here and there. I think it might be after this season, we're going to try to expand it, make it bigger. But it's military zombie themed, and it's one of those things, kind of like clowns, that people either love zombies or they hate zombies. But we've had a lot of people come out and they'll say, oh man, this was great, that was great, this was great, but our favorite one was quarantine, or our favorite one was this or that. But it's become a crowd favorite over the past couple of years. We get some really great actors in there. We've been able to get some more props and some more lighting and sound and stuff like that in there, and it's done really well. And it actually spawned another big thing for us that's I think we're going to talk about here in a little bit.
Okay. We'll move to that next. But now, first of all, is it populated with slow zombies or those World War Z zombies? Now, those are the ones that scare me.
It's a little bit of both, actually. It's a little bit of both. A lot of it depends on where the actor is in the room, how the room's laid out, how the guests are going through. We tell the actors, keep your hands up just in case, because you never know when people are coming through a haunted house, whether they're going to hit you, shove you out of the way, or if they're drunk or something like that. But sometimes we get fast zombies, sometimes you get slow zombies, but everybody does their thing, and people seem to dig it, man.
It's interesting you bring that up. Quick sidebar. I had a friend, knew him from high school, and I kept in touch with him for years, and we used to go camping and drinking and all this. Great guy. His one weakness, if anything scared him, he came up swinging. And I mean, if he was asleep in a lawn chair and you happened to say, hey, it's time for dinner, and you startled him, came up swinging. So a haunted house would just be out of the question for him. And he's not a violent guy otherwise. That was his go-to response.
Oh, yeah. People, they can't necessarily control that instant reflex reaction. But sometimes you can see that when the guests are coming through, how they're moving, how they're looking around, how they're acting. You're going to get, your guys in the group that are there like, nothing scares me. I'm going to hit somebody if they jump out, blah, blah, blah. But it's not necessarily those you got to worry about. You can see those coming. It's the people that they have a knee-jerk reaction to flinch or throw their hands up or push or swing or something like that really fast. So I always tell my actors, keep your hands in front of your face just in case.
Question from the chat room now, and I assume this would kind of apply to all the tours. What is your all's method for keeping the tour groups moving along? Do you just hope that you scare them bad enough in the back that they push everybody forward? Does somebody, tap them on the shoulder and say, hey, move to the next room? How does that work in your all's locations?
That's actually a really good question, because having been, I guess you say, been in the haunt industry since 2006, we've learned a lot of what doesn't work and a lot of what does work. We used to have parts of the haunt that were really dark, or we had areas where the customers actually had to choose a doorway to walk through, or things like that. And we learned very quickly, if people get confused and scared at the same time, they freeze. They don't move. And so we had to literally dummy-proof the dummy-proof. And we got to the point where we had to put arrows on the floor. We had to put rope lighting around doorways they're supposed to go through. We had to screw other doors shut if they had more options, just so they would only go one way. Right. So we try to make the path as simple as possible. And we try to tell them that you're only going to go through open doorways. You're never going to open door yourself. You're only going to, you follow the path. It's a one-way thing. Your actors, they're going to pop out along the way. And we usually teach our actors, and yet again, this is something we learned the hard way, you always want to try to scare forward. Now, what that means is you never want to jump out in front of a group, because you will send them flying backwards
into the other
group. Last
group.
Thing you want. Exactly, because that other group is still catching up. So you always want to hit part of the group that's not going to slow them down, hit them from the side or hit them from behind. So when they startle and move, they're going either sideways or still forward. So we try to keep the lines moving as best as we can. And on top of that, we do have radios in the haunt. We do have radios with our section leaders and stuff like that. So if groups are going slow, they're getting backed up, or we need to slow down our throughput, they can just radio us real quick and say, hey, they're getting backed up back here. Slow them down a little bit. Give me a second to get this cleared out. But usually they stay on top of that stuff.
Oddly enough, I learned the same thing in my beef quality assurance training. You herd cattle from the shoulder. You don't get behind them. You get at the shoulder, and that moves them. The flight response will move them forward. So everybody that goes to haunted houses, I just want you to know that yes, we use the same psychology on cows as we do you.
Surprise.
Animals are animals. Okay, now let's get on this new thing. Which now that I've scrolled down, I don't even see it. But the fear of the legend. Fear of the legend.
Yes.
From the creators of Wicked World Scaregrounds, Whitaker Bank Ballpark brings you Fear of the Legend. Okay, now tell me what the hell's going on.
Okay. Well, last year was the first year that we tried that. And basically they approached us and said, hey, would you be interested in doing some haunted house stuff out here? Because we haven't had haunted houses or a Halloween event out here in a long time. And we were thinking, wow, there's a lot of stuff we got to work on, a lot of stuff we got to do. Now we need to build mobile haunted houses on top of that. That's going to be tricky. And if you thought running a trail was ridiculous, try building haunts that you have to tear down, set up, paint, distress, set dressing, tear them back down, ship them over, put them back up. That's the tricky part. But we were able to do 2 haunted houses out there last season. And response was okay just because it was new. I don't think they put much into their advertising, which I think slowed us down some. But we're still waiting to hear back from them for this season. I don't know if they're still wanting us to do it or not. They may have changed their mind. I'm not sure, but that one's still up in the air. But that was us last year. And everyone that went out said it was really, really great, which, I mean, that's awesome because we had to put this stuff up on the fly. We've never done mobile haunts before. Everything at our place stays up year-round so we can work on it in place. Mm-hmm. So having to build and tear down and build and tear down, that was a whole other animal right there.
So you're kind of becoming a carny.
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit of a carny. A little bit of a carny. Okay, so now, do you advertise for your actors? How do you accumulate enough people? Because if you were just doing one haunted house, I'd say, piece of cake. call John. He'll bring his bar buddy. But
Right.
you're populating minimum 3 haunted attractions here.
Mm-hmm.
How do you round up that many people who are willing to follow instructions?
Well, very carefully would be the first thing. That's the tricky part, because we've got 3 haunted houses. Then last year we added Fear the Legend, and then on top of that, I still think you still got Fright Nights out there at Jacobson Park. So all of us are trying to pull from a group of people who are crazy enough to want to work a haunted house to begin with. So that's the tricky part, finding the people that actually want to do it. Man, a lot of it's word of mouth. You get guys out there that work, and they tell their friends, or family members. Sometimes if it's getting down to the wire and we're like, oh, shit, we need to hire more people. Bad, we need to find more people. We'll put it out ads on Craigslist and stuff like that. Man, it's tricky because you put stuff out on Craigslist, you don't know who's going to be walking through that door, man.
Yeah, Craigslist is the Ouija board of the internet. That's
basically that's what you're looking at. Yeah, you don't know what you're going to get. And we've had some interesting characters come from that, but we really love kids that have been into theater in high school and college and stuff like that have a little bit of acting background, because they're already a little bit more confident in that area. Aside from that, people that are like me and Dean that just loved haunted houses and Halloween and stuff like that, and they just have a passion for this type of stuff. Those are the ones we want. But yeah, it does get tricky when you get up to wrangling about 70 to 100 people trying to work for you. I understand how kindergarten teachers feel.
Now, once you get them, of course, you have the themes for the various things. Now, just like... Okay, let's start with one of the haunted things. More traditional type makeup, I'm sure. How many people does it just take to get everybody in costume? Is that something that's pretty much left up the actors show up with your scary face on? Or do you actually have people that their job is to slap a little crud around the ears and...
Well, back in the day when we were... at Manchester Street, a lot of it was every man for himself. If you could come in and find a mask and a costume through all the stuff we got up, anymore. I think we it was around 2011, maybe 11 or 12. We actually started hiring and training makeup artists. So we have anywhere from like 5 to 7 makeup artists that'll come in, and they'll blow through our 70 actors within about an hour, maybe hour and a half. But everybody, once they get assigned their spot for the night, they'll get their costume, whether they get a mask, whether they get a prop or anything with them, where they're going to be, whether it's makeup or not, and then they'll go, plop down at a makeup artist chair and say, this is where I'm going, and the makeup artist rocks and rolls.
Sounds good. Everybody, we're going to take our next commercial break. I got to come up with a contest word tonight. I've not been paying any attention. I need to come decide what we're going to do to give away our 3-day pass. So I'll be thinking about that during the commercial break, which is unfortunately my short one. When we come back, though, the important thing, when we come back, I will have our celebrity guest announcement, our celebrity Scarefest 2018, Scarefest 11, Scarefest Rebirth, celebrity announcement for the evening. Everybody, we'll be right back.
Coyote Chris Sutton.
Shamanism.
Spiritual advisement.
Paranormal investigations.
Inspirational presentations.
Bringing light to the darkest places for over 20 years. Go to CoyoteChris.com to learn more. And we're back with Scarefest Radio. Let's start off right away. Let's do our celebrity announcement. And yes, my lovely producer just reminded me. Wasn't that fun? Okay. Tobin Bell of the Saw franchise, and incidentally, every other freaking... his IMDb page is almost boring because it's just like so much stuff that the man has done. But he's Jigsaw. In the Saw franchise, he is Jigsaw. Burning Mississippi. He was in The Firm. Manson Family Vacation. The Good Lord. Let's just go some down through here. Highway 61, Highway to Hell. And oddly enough, My Pretty Pony. That's a short that's coming up, but I'm just dying to know about that one. The voice of Savitar in The Flash. So, in other words, even though it was Barry Allen from the future, but the voice of Savitar. So that's my little fandom there on him. Then Dark House, like I said, all the Saw movies. Buried Alive was a big one. He's done it all. This is a major get, everybody. I'll put it this way: when they say, I'm not a big horror fan. When they say a name and I go, wait a minute, I know that guy, then you know he's somebody. So anyway, we do have Tobin Bell coming this year to the Scarefest. And yes, fans, you heard it here first on Scarefest Radio. Unless you were one of the people that got my text message today by accident. But no, actually that wasn't. That was about something else. Incidentally, never base your phone contacts off any conversation that you have with Nicole Griffith. I'm just gonna. I learned that the hard way. Go around that. So, and he was in the X-Files for a while. He was in several episodes of the X-Files. See, people are just throwing all kinds of stuff. Walker, Texas Ranger. He did a couple of episodes of Walker, Texas Ranger. Stargate SG. Oh my God, I remember him in Stargate SG-1. If I didn't have to stand in line, I would probably pay for his autograph. But I won't stand in line for a fucking kidney. I'm not going to stand in line for that. So anyway, now, that would be a really good thing to put on Facebook, wouldn't it? No, we're going to, the first person under tonight's banner, I got to pull up the right page here. I'll be back with you in a minute on what we'll do on the contest. We will do it on the Facebook group, though. I just got to get the right page loaded so that I know where the heck to look for it. We'll do it on the Scarefest group. We'll do that in just a minute. Now, while we're sitting here talking, some comments were made. Now, I want to tell you the first thing I thought of when I pulled up your Facebook page to get your picture is I was just sure I was on the wrong one because people. This guy is buff. This guy is an actual bodybuilder. He is, and you. In other words, you are the antithesis of what I am, and I just wanted to.
If you want to call it that, yeah.
Well, you know, I mean, that is just absolutely. How much? Okay, let's talk about bodybuilding a minute. Tell me the story again of how you decided you wanted to get into bodybuilding.
Oh boy. Well, the short version I tell people is I like food and I just hate myself. But I guess if you want to go way back, I was one of those kids that was a big comic book fan when I was little. And I was amazed by superheroes, and I thought they were so cool and just so above your normal average person. And then when I started seeing movies with Arnold Schwarzenegger or Lou Ferrigno or people like that, I was like, wow, you know, actual human beings can look like this. That's so cool. And so I think that's what kind of sparked it for me. I was an impressionable little kid, and I saw that, and I was just floored. But for so long, I didn't understand how you went from normal person to superhero. And so, growing up, I was a chubby kid. I did the best I could. I just ate whatever I felt like and did whatever I felt like. And when I got into high school, I started to get a little bit more interested in it and was curious about it. I started reading magazines and reading online articles and trying to educate myself as much as I could to become as efficient as possible. And I went from I was in high school, I think it was junior year maybe. I went from like a chubby 180-pound kid to a stick-thin 150-pound kid. And so, which is funny because people look at me now, I'm about 250 pounds, and they're like, oh, man, I bet you've always been big. And I'm like, no, I couldn't protect myself from a stiff breeze, let alone another person. And what happened was I graduated high school, and I looked at myself and thought, oh, my God, I'm tiny. I want to be big. I want to be a monster. And so, back to the drawing board, started learning and reading and researching and everything I could, and started eating a lot more and working out differently and things like that. And over, my college career, I went from that 150-pound kid to a 250-pound chubby kid, and I've been a personal trainer for probably 14 years ish, and always wanted to get into bodybuilding, but it was one of those things, and everybody's got it. Something you want to do really, really bad, but you talk yourself out of it because you don't think you can do it. And one day I just got to that point, and I said, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to give this a shot, sink or swim. I'm going to put everything I know into this and see what happens. And I started competing in 2013, and I tell you that the moment I stepped off stage at my first bodybuilding show, I was kicking myself, and I thought, you idiot, you wasted so much time. You could have been doing this years ago, but you were too scared. You talked yourself out of it, not into it. And I think a lot of people can relate to that. But ever since then, it's just, been going up and up and up. I'm doing at least 1 or 2 shows a year. I've been working with a great coach in Lexington, Tyler Bedson. The man's a genius when it comes to diet and workout stuff. And, he worked some voodoo on me. I'll give him that. But yeah, that's kind of how it all started and spiraled out of control, I guess.
See, my own story is very similar. In high school, early on, sophomore, I got up above 200 pounds, 5'8", so I was thick.
Yeah.
And then I got into I got into bodybuilding. I was running. Now my main weight loss thing was running, but I was running 2 miles a day, or every other day actually, and bodybuilding on the alternate day. So I was doing the full routine. I got down to that slim 150 pounds that you're talking about. And I actually had some girl tell me, my mom says you're getting too thin. And I said, cool, that is so great.
Yeah.
Now, the way I got out of it, though, the way I got out of it, though, is when I met my wife-to-be, her mother decided to fatten me for the kill.
Oh,
and,
no.
Yes, every time I'd go to their house, pork chops. I have never seen any woman cook so many pork chops in my entire life. But yes, that is how I went from 150 pounds to this lovely physique, everybody, that you see me with now.
Well, Wes, I'll tell you one thing. I have never met a piece of bacon or a piece of cake that I haven't liked. In all my years of research, never met a bad one. Now, that being said, I just can't eat them all the time.
Well,
there's a time for it.
Today on the news, someone actually did a study. Some government agency paid some college or somebody to do a study, and they discovered that women with breast cancer who eat good live a longer life than women with breast cancer who don't. And I'm like,
what a
my
shocker.
God, it took probably $1 billion federal dollars to figure this out. And so
I'm sure it did.
My entire thing is, first of all, I eat a balanced diet if you count donuts as part of being balanced. I eat whatever my body craves. And in other words,
you go instinctively, don't you?
Yeah, but I eat a lot of vegetables. In other words, I eat a lot of healthy food. Now, I totally destroy that by the other stuff that I eat. Plus, like I said, I'm a pack-a-day smoker, and screw you all. That's what I do.
But it's that balance that you need there, Wes, right?
That's right. Not to brag, but I was in for a checkup just a week ago, and my doctor looks at me and goes, pack-a-day, 30-plus years. He said, no. He said, but in other words, I've taken enough care of myself that I still go upstairs a lot slower than I used to. But I'll bet you I'm in better shape than a lot of kids when they graduate high school, flipping around with your little Xboxes and crap and living your lives through Facebook. Anyway, okay.
Those whippersnappers.
I know. Pull your pants up and get off my yard. Anyway,
you tell
okay.
them, Wes.
Anyway, let's get on with the show. Okay, we have decided that, what was that? This guy is buff. The first person who on the banner on the Scarefest Celebrity Horror Fandom and Halloween Expo Facebook group page under our banner, and I even posted so you would see it. I posted contest here, so you know you were on the right one. I've got it pulled up here on my phone. I'm looking at the wrong one. Contest here. So under my comment that says contest here, the first person that puts this guy is buffed. Now don't put it directly on my comment because then people will think that you're talking about me. And Like I said, I am to buff what chocolate cake is to the marathon. So now, Wicked World Scaregrounds is bringing something very special to Scarefest this year, and I understand it's not only new to Scarefest. This is like your all's first big trial of this.
Pretty much.
Tell everybody what we're doing.
I'll tell you, Wes. All right. So, this has been another brainchild in the making for about a year or so. We'd heard of some other companies getting into it in the haunted house industry, and we were interested, we were curious, and so there was a company we met up with last year called Zombie Apocalypse Laser Tag. Now they're based out of Arizona, and they started doing this thing for haunted houses called the Zombie Apocalypse World Tour. And what they do is they travel around the U.S., and if you're interested, they sign you up on the bill. They come out, they set up their laser tag system. You supply the actors as the zombies. They bring the system and the guns and everything. And basically the people get to go through in teams and shoot your way through a haunted house filled with zombies. And it is just as much fun as it sounds, if not more. So we did that. We did an event last year in July, I think. And we had a blast with it, and everyone that came out had a blast. And we thought, yes, we definitely want to do this because it can be something really fun to do in the off season. Because once Halloween's over, people are done with haunted houses and everything. They don't think about it till next October. And so we're like, what's something that we can do that's fun and cool, and it can give our actors something to do, and it can still get people out here, and we can make some extra budget money to put towards the haunt, and just something cool to do. And so. We thought and thought and thought. Ideas went back and forth, and then we were like, okay, we need to do it. We need to buy a laser tag system that's really cool, and we need to get this thing rolling and give it a shot. And we were at our big trade show in St. Louis every year. It's called Transworld. It's called the Transworld Haunt and Attraction Show. It's in St. Louis in March every year, and it is massive. It's for the haunted house industry, and you have to be in this industry to even get into it. But it's huge. You see $30,000 animatronics. You see $600 masks. You see huge elaborate costumes, and anything you can think of and everything you haven't thought of is at this show. This isn't for the public. This is for the big guns. And so we met a company there that sells laser tag systems, and we checked out their stuff, and it's super, super cool. It's literally like you took the best, online first-person shooter, you ripped the guts out of that game and plopped it in real life. So here's what we got. We call it Rotting Rampage, okay? So this is our zombie laser tag. But now we ain't your grandma's zombie laser tag. We do things a little bit different around here. So we wanted to make it more of a video game experience for people. Other places can do zombie laser tag. That's cool, but we wanted to add our edge to it, make it a little bit different. So the system, the cool thing about that is you can first log into, there's an app you can download called Call Sign. You start your profile there. So once you get onto the property, you log into our system with your profile name, and it pulls you up. We give you your laser tag gun. It's got your name on it. And the cool thing about our system is it tracks all your stats, your hits, your kills, your misses, your accuracy, your death, anything like that. It tracks all your stats throughout the game. And while you're going through the game, you rack up experience points. Now, what the experience points are is they count towards you leveling up. And the leveling up, the cool part about that is you can start to unlock new weapons. Now, the system's really cool because the guns have speakers on them, and they have vibration, and there's over 90-plus weapons options to unlock, and each one sounds different, functions different, reloads different. I mean, you can do anything from a flamethrower to a grenade launcher to a heavy machine gun to shotguns. I mean, you name it, it's on there, and we can still custom-make weapons if we need to. So not only can it do all of that, we decided to take it one step further. What would make it more like a video game? Well, if you're going through killing zombies in a video game, you're ultimately going to come to the end of that level, and you're going to have to face a boss. So what we decided is, let's make these really cool, awesome, decked-out characters. Let's make boss zombies. So at the end of each haunt that you go through, you have to fight one of the bosses. And they're all unique. They all look different. They act different. They sound different. We've got different actors lined out for them. And they actually change every month. We have 2 new bosses to fight every month. And we're going to start putting them up on the billboards and the website so you guys can see them, and the Facebook pages. We opened for the first time last weekend to do kind of a trial run. It was really one of those working the bugs out kind of things. because the first time you try anything, you're going to have issues with it. You got to run it till it's smooth. But everyone that came out had an absolute blast. They were ecstatic. They were laughing and joking. We had guys coming out covered in sweat, their glasses fogged up, saying, "Man, that adrenaline kicks in. You really get going." But everybody absolutely loved it. And they loved fighting the bosses and the zombies and everything. It's really intense, so we do recommend 13 and up. You don't have to be 13 and up, but that's what we recommend to parents because it can get a little intense in there. But everyone loved the system. They loved the fact they were so excited to get on and check their stats after the game and compare them to their friends. And, the more you come out and play the game, the more experience points you rack up, the new weapons you can start unlocking, and then you can really start rocking and rolling. So that's our brand new thing is our zombie laser tag. And we're going to try to figure out a way to bring that experience to Scarefest this year so everyone can play it out on the show floor.
It's going to be on the show because the original thing was they thought about trying to do it in the food court area because all the vendors apparently packed up and left. And the only thing I think I could think of that would be more fun would be if you did it with paintball. But I did.
Be more painful, I know that.
Well, hey, but it's the experience that counts. But so anyway,
True.
so what we're saying, people, is okay. You've heard the pitch on zombie laser tag. Now, where are you now? Okay, now is this normally at the Taste Creek location?
Yes, same location, 5817 Taste Creek Road. Yep.
Okay, so if you're interested in that, when do y'all have an official launch date, or you're still working bugs out? How y'all coming on that?
Well, for right now, we're just doing one game a month, just to control the flow of everything. Tickets are extremely limited because the amount of guns we have and the amount of people going through per group per hour. Tickets are extremely limited, so we're wanting everyone, if you're wanting to buy tickets, get on the website, buy them online for a time slot so you're guaranteed to go through. Because if we have people just walking up by the droves, I can't guarantee once we hit that point of ticket sales that, anybody else is going to get to go through. We might have to turn people away and say, buy your tickets online for tomorrow or next month or, sorry about your luck. But we're rolling as many people as we can to not get backed up. But tickets are extremely limited. But we have the rottingrampage.com website, or there's the Rotting Rampage Facebook. We have the Rotting Rampage Instagram. But, yeah, we're trying to get everybody to buy their tickets online early so they can make sure that they have their time slot they want to and come rolled up ready to rock and roll with your team of 4 people.
Okay, so that's rottingrampage.com.
Bingo.
Okay,
yep.
Want to get that plug in there, too. So, anyway, to continue. Now, the idea is to actually, once they get some of their bugs worked out, and hopefully that'll be before Scarefest, is actually bring that experience to some level, to some degree, to the Scarefest floor. So, yes, people, if everything goes as planned, you will have the opportunity to fight zombies on the Scarefest convention floor. Do you hear that, people? Where else can you have that experience? So we got about 5 minutes left now. Now the act course. Now most people know, at least from Scarefest. Let me start over. Most of our Scarefest fans know Wicked World from the actors that you send to the Scarefest. How many do you all send in a typical year? I mean, it seems heavier some years than others, but typically, how many of those costumes cretins do we get?
Usually out at Scarefest, we'll send anywhere from it could be anywhere from 8 to 10 actors up to 15 to 20. Okay, it really all depends a lot on their schedules and things like that.
Yeah, right. That was my guess. And now, people, if you didn't know, some of them it's the ones you see there all weekend, and they are, and the one on the front page of the website, wickedworldscaregrounds.com. He's that costume. I don't even say actor every year, but that costume is there every year, and it's one of the fan favorites. How do those actors? Because it seems like now maybe they take more breaks than I realize, but it seems like from the time the con starts, there's a couple of them especially that it seems, with the exception of running into them out in the smoking lounge, They are on all weekend. And when I say on, they are in character. And I don't think I've ever seen any of them, except out in the smoking lounge, that when they're on the floor, they're just like checking their cell phone and shit. Are these like your inside? I guess I'm asking, how do you get that quality of people to do work like this?
Well, that's part of that tricky part about hiring people. See, those are the ones that we want. The ones that love this type of stuff. That they're into haunted houses. They're into horror movie stuff. They like special effects type stuff. They want to learn how to, make masks and prosthetic pieces and stuff like that. Those are the ones that we really want to get. The ones that have that passion about it, just like, Dean and myself and our managers. The ones that just absolutely love it. And we've picked up some great actors and actresses along the way. And usually those are, we try to send our big icon characters out to Scarefest. We try to include as many as we can without flooding Scarefest with all of our staff, because there is a limit to what we can bring. But our actors are great, man. And honestly, if we didn't have them, we wouldn't be anything. You can build a great haunted house. You can deck it out. You can light it. You can put sound in. You can make it look gorgeous. But if you don't have the actors and the actresses in there, it's just a really cool showroom, And there's been a long debate in the haunted house industry of, should we go to more animatronics versus actors, because sometimes actors can be unreliable or sometimes they can be unpredictable, which is true. It's just like anything else. You hire an employee for something. You don't know if they're going to be a good employee or a bad employee or be one of the best ones and end up, promoting them. But an actor will always be able to do way more than an animatronic piece or a prop or anything like that. They're so much more dynamic, and they can work on the fly. They can interact with people. You just can't. Overall, I don't see you ever being able to replace actors at all, just because they're so versatile in what they can do. And buddy, we have some great ones, man. We've gotten really lucky along the way. We've got some phenomenal actors and actresses, and I would just love to keep adding to the list. The trouble is just finding them all. And, kids, they have school, they have jobs, they have other responsibilities, things like that, which eventually kind of takes them away from it. They end up retiring, and we're really sad to see them go. But, man, we talk all the time, be like, boy, if we could go back in time and pick the best of the best, we'd have one hell of a crew.
I realize there's a place for animatronics in it. There's some things you can only do really, effectively. But now when I've watched things on TV about haunted houses, and the ones that rely heavily on animatronics, to me, they look almost dry. And I realize maybe if you're there, but the experience of knowing a machine, because a machine from a robot,
right?
You can tell the difference. And so to me, they feel dry. Now there was one that a few years back, and I was sure it was one of your guys, but maybe it wasn't. But it was the most impressive death costume I've ever seen. Had the sickle, hooded shroud, and the costume, because it was built up, was like 7-8 foot tall. Not 7, because he was next to me. But I want that one to come back, because the picture I had taken with him out on the smoking lounge came out blurry, and I wanted a picture of me smoking a cigarette with death. So if you have that costume laying around, I'm just putting that out there as my personal request for Scarefest 2018. Scarefest 11. Scarefest Rebirth. Hi, everybody. We're at the end of the episode. Jeremy, thank you so much for coming on. And my wife.
You're very welcome.
Note. Oh, I need to announce a contest winner. I put it on Facebook. I did not announce it. Tonight's winner is Katie Bacon. Katie Bacon for posting. This guy is buff, and Katie, I will friend you on Facebook, and then I'll send you a message eventually. Basically, I'm lumping. I do all these, and I need to sit down and do them. I'm behind on getting the free passes out. I'm last probably 2 months worth, so probably I've got about 8 or 10 of them to send out. But the point is, you will get your pass. Keep an eye on your inbox for the request. What it is, I'll ask you for your email. Then I will email you an actual pass that you can have on your phone or print out if you're old-fashioned like me. And when you show up, you just flash that at them and get you in. So once again, Katie Bacon for posting This Guy's Buff was our winner. Our announcement for the evening, Tobin Bell of the Saw franchise. I think we can call that a out-of-the-park home run. Everybody, this has been Scarefest Radio. I want to thank you so much for tuning in.